Grammy Award-winning producer, Songwriters Hall of Fame inductee, recording artist, and TV star Jermaine Dupri has been writing and producing platinum records for more than 25 years, to mark a quarter-century of success with his record label, So Def. 25 years of elevating culture, an exhibit exploring the legacy of Dupri and the rise and influence of Atlanta's hip-hop and R&B scene. Welcome to Atlanta. Founded in 1993, So Def Recordings brought the innovative sound of Southern hip-hop and R&B to a worldwide audience. Inspired by Gordy's Motown and Russell Simmons' Def Jam, Jermaine Dupri created a powerhouse with his innate business sense, coupled with an ear for hits, an eye for talent, and the creative determination to spend the time necessary to create fresh beats and sounds. Artists such as Xscape, Bow Wow, Jagged Edge, and Brat brought a youthful edge that spoke directly to a young audience. So Def became synonymous with hit songs, dominating sales and airplay charts. Even if they didn't recognize the artist immediately, fans gravitated to So Def releases because they knew the music would be great, a rare feat for any record label. Dupri took an interest in music and the music business at a young age, having been introduced to the industry by his father, Michael Maldon. By the time he was 12 years old, he had danced on stage with Diana Ross, with rap trio Whodini, and at Fresh Fest, one of the first big hip-hop tours. At 15 years old, Dupri had produced his first album and released mixtapes under the name So Def. At 19 years old, Dupri discovered and developed the teenage hip-hop duo and sensation, Kris Kross, whose debut album reached #1 on the Billboard charts. By 1993, executives at Columbia Records recognized Dupri's unique ability to develop new talent and, as a result, he signed an agreement with Columbia Records that allowed the major label to distribute albums that Dupri and So Def Recordings produced. This arrangement provided Dupri the freedom to focus on discovering and developing new talent while producing their songs. Dupri purposefully kept his label headquarters in Atlanta, where he would focus on Southern hip-hop and R&B. The first act he signed to the label was Xscape, an all-female R&B group who achieved platinum-level success with their first 2 albums, and so, the story of So Def Recordings had begun. This dynamic duo earned their claim to fame with the bouncy sounds of their hit, Jump. The late Chris, Mac Daddy, Kelly and Chris, Daddy Mac Smith, were best friends when Jermaine Dupri discovered them at a mall in Atlanta. The duo didn't intend to become rappers, but their look and inherent appeal convinced Dupri that he could develop them into stars. In an effort to make them stand out, he encouraged them to wear all of their clothing backwards, which proved to be a major hit among fans. In 1992, Jump would become the first rap song to remain #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart for 8 consecutive weeks. By the time they were 14 years old, Kris Kross was signed to Columbia Records and had a hit song. They opened for Michael Jackson's Dangerous Tour, while their debut album soared past 2 million in sales. Dupri's work on behalf of Kris Kross set the tone for his career and demonstrated the powerful effect that a hip-hop group could have on the mainstream music industry. A native of Durham, North Carolina, DJ Nabs began his career in Atlanta as a mix show DJ for WVEE. After hearing DJ Nabs on the turntables, Jermaine Dupri formed a highly successful collaboration with DJ Nabs and Kris Kross. After touring with Kris Kross for 4 years, DJ Nabs became So Def Recordings' exclusive DJ, backing up Brat, Xscape, Jermaine Dupri, and Bow Wow. DJ Nabs also found success at the Atlanta-based radio station, Hot 97.5, hosting the popular show, In the Lab with DJ Nabs. During his time working at Atlanta radio stations, DJ Nabs mentored Ludacris, a young aspiring artist at the time. Dupri created the R&B quartet Xscape. Sisters La Toka and Tameka Scott both began singing in the church where their dad, Randolph Scott, was a reverend. La Toka and Tameka first met Kandi and Tiny at Tri-City High School in Atlanta, where they decided to become a group and began rehearsing and performing locally. Their performance at Jermaine Dupri's birthday party in 1991 helped Xscape become the first group signed to Dupri's new label, So Def Recordings. The group's first studio album, Hummin Comin at Cha, embraced a gospel-influenced sound and added grit to their sex appeal. Dupri served as executive producer and came up with the cover art concept for the album. Both their debut album in 1993 and their sophomore album, Off the Hook in 1995, earned platinum sales awards. By 1998, the group released its third and final album, Traces of My Lipstick. Shortly thereafter, the group disbanded to pursue personal aspirations. Tiny and Kandi would go on to pen the Grammy-winning hit No Scrubs for TLC, while Latoka and Tameka pursued solo recording and acting careers. Hitmakers Brandon Case Dinero Casey, Brian Brosco Casey, Kyle Norman, and Richard Wingo comprised the quartet Jagged Edge. After meeting as teenagers, the group found early success when Kandi Burruss Tucker of Xscape shared one of their recorded demos with Jermaine Dupri. Dupri was excited to work with the group, and together, they developed a sound that embraced the flair of hip-hop with the groove of R&B. In 1997, they released their debut album, A Jagged Era, which received national recognition and earned a place on the Billboard 200 chart. Their second album, J.E. Heartbreak, went double platinum in 2000. The quartet's third studio album, Jagged Little Thrill, kicked off with the R&B anthem, Where the Party At, which featured Nelly and earned the group a Grammy nomination. Jagged Edge continues to remain a major force in changing the landscape of R&B. Shanti Harris, known to the world as Brat, grew up in Chicago, Illinois, and began her rapping career at the age of 11. In 1992, Brat was discovered after winning an MTV-sponsored rap contest. Her reward for winning the contest was a meeting with Columbia Records artists, Kris Kross. Brat signed to So Def Recordings and released her debut album, Funkdafied, in 1994. Her feisty tomboy persona, coupled with her innovative rhymes, lead to platinum-level sales, making her the first female rapper to achieve that distinction. Following its release, Funkdafied rose to #1 on the Billboard US Top R&B Hip-Hop Albums chart, while her subsequent albums, Anyatha Tantrum and Unrestricted, featuring more of her hard-edged rhymes, also reached the top 5 on the Billboard US Top R&B Hip-Hop Albums chart. The two-time Grammy nominee would eventually step into the world of film and television, making multiple appearances in movies and reality shows over the years. Columbus, Ohio native, Shad Gregory Moss started his career at the age of 13 with the double platinum album Beware of Dog, commonly known as Bow Wow. He was another young talent fostered by Jermaine Dupri. Bow Wow's subsequent albums went platinum and led to a successful acting career in films like Roll Bounce in 2005 and The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift in 2006. Bow Wow's debut single was featured in Martin Lawrence's film, Big Mama's House, and, continuing his momentum, at the age of 15, he landed a feature role in the movie Like Mike in 2002, on which Dupri served as executive producer. His third album, Wanted, reached platinum levels, with the singles, Let Me Hold You, featuring Omarion, and Like You, featuring Sierra, continuing a string of hits that Bow Wow would release in subsequent years. Based in Atlanta, Dem Franchise Boyz were signed by Jermaine Dupri in 2005. Members Buddy Tiller, Bernard Jizzleman, Maurice Parley, and Jamal Pimpin created Snap music with multiple top 10 tracks including Lean With It, Rock With It, and I Think They Like Me. With the release of I Think They Like Me, the group proved to be unstoppable with their platinum-selling second album, On Top of Our Game, their first as artists on the So Def Recordings rosters. In 2003, Jermaine Dupri brought his So Def Recordings to Arista Records, where Bone Crusher was the first artist signed under this new deal. Bone Crusher's debut album, Attention, peaked number 11 on the Billboard 200 chart. His hit single, Never Scared, became well known across a variety of entertainment platforms, including the gaming world, as it was featured in the popular video game, Madden NFL 2004. Bone Crusher introduced the sound of crunk to the masses and was instrumental in pushing the subgenre forward by opening the floodgates for rappers like T.I., DJ Drama, and David Banner. Starting his singing career in church, Anthony Hamilton went on to pursue a life in music. Performing on stages throughout the country, Hamilton went through a handful of labels before finally joining So So Def Recordings, where he recorded the Grammy-nominated and platinum-selling album. In 2008, Anthony Hamilton received a Grammy Award for Best Traditional R&B Performance for his rendition of El Green's song, You've Got the Love I Need. Hamilton also performed his hit song, Can't Let Go, at the 2008 MusiCares Person of the Year tribute honoring the late Aretha Franklin. Over the 25-year history of So So Def Recordings, Jermaine Dupri and his roster of artists have received numerous accolades, including Grammy Awards, American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers Honors, American Music Awards, and Platinum Album Awards. In 2017, Billboard placed Mary J. Blige's hit Be Without You, written by So So Def Recordings producers Brian Michael Cox and Jonta Austin, atop the greatest of all-time R&B hip-hop songs list. In 2018, Jermaine Dupri was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Dupri continues to discover new, young talent, extending his So So Def legacy beyond the 25-year. The songs and sounds of So So Def Recordings and its artists have had and continue to have a significant impact in shaping R&B, hip-hop, and pop music. Thank you for watching.